Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you all doing?
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fine, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today we're going to do a review of everything that we've learned so far. So I'd like you all to collaborate and answer. You can answer in the chat box or you can raise your hand and answer. Okay, inshallah. So, and if you have any questions at any time, then you just let me know. So in Arabic, so we'll start from the overview. In Arabic, there are three types of words, okay? A word can be an ism, it can be a fi'l, or it can be a harf, okay? So ism means noun. What are some things that are included in ism? They include person, for example, Hamidin, Zainabu, people, you know, and with their names, or even Abun, Ummun. These are all ism, okay? Places, Madrasa, or Al-Hind, Pakistan, all of these are ism. And then things like Kitabu or Baytun, Shajaratun, all of these are things. So these are also ism. And also ideas. Ideas are things that you can feel or you can think about, but you can't touch them. So ideas like happiness, education, love, all of these come under ism in Arabic. Okay, so hubbun, which is love, will come under an ism. And then there are adjectives. Adjectives, we learned, are words that describe the noun. For example, jamilun, beautiful, or tawilun, long or tall. So all of these are adjectives. And then there are adverbs. Adverbs, we haven't gotten there yet, but adverbs are words that describe the fi'l, describe the verb. So these will also be ism, right? Fi'l are verbs. So the easiest way to figure out if it is a fi'l is if it has a tense. A word which is either in past tense, present tense, or future tense will be a fi'l. Okay. Harf are words that by themselves, they will not make much sense. For example, wa, which means and, or li, which means for, right? These are called prepositions in English. Wa means and, li is for, be is with. Okay, so all of these are prepositions. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay, so then we'll continue with our nouns. We're gonna look deeper at ism. So for ism, when you look at any ism, there are 4 things that you have to look for. Okay, and also I'd like to mention that please everyone take notes. Okay, so this is a review, and make sure you have all of this information in your notes so you can revisit it again and again, because we'll need this in the next lesson. So for a noun, there are 4 things that we have to look at. Number 1 is status, or in Arabic, i'rab. So what are the 3 statuses that a noun can have? It can either be rafa, which means it will have a dhamma on the last letter. Okay, all of these are on the last letter. If it has a dhamma or tanween, either dhamma or dhammatain, it will be rafa. Fatha or fathatain, nasab, and kasra or kasratain is jar. Okay. In its normal state, in its normal state, a fi'l will always, an ism will always have rafa. Okay. In its normal state, kitabu, baytun, either single, either dhamma or dhammatain, but it will be rafa. Okay. When it has nasab or jar, there's a reason for it. Okay, and that's why we're learning grammar. Grammar will tell you why an ism is not rafa. Why is it nasab or why is it jar? So one way that we already know, when there's a harf of jar before the ism, then that ism will be jar. Okay, the other one is if it's a mudaf ilayh, then it will also be jar. And there are more ways that we'll look at later on. And we haven't touched on nasab yet, but there are, just like there are harf of jar, there are harf of nasab. So if there's a harf of nasab before an ism, then the last letter of the ism will be nasab. Okay, is everyone following so far? Okay. So all right, let's continue then. So this is rafa, nasab, and jar. Okay. The second thing that we look at is gender. So gender is pretty easy. There are only 2, masculine or feminine. Okay, so to be able to tell if a noun is masculine or feminine, you can say that every ism that is not feminine is masculine. Okay, so because we have ways to tell if it is feminine. Does anyone know, like, what is one way we can tell if a noun is feminine? What will it have?
Ta marbuta.
Ta marbuta, yes, that's correct. It will have ta marbuta. What else?
It's has alif maksura.
Okay, so it will either be like this, and it will end with alif maksura. What else?
Or alif mamduda.
Mhm.
Body parts in pairs.
Yep, body parts in pairs. I'll just write that down. So body parts in pairs. What else?
Female names.
Yes, female names.
Feminine.
Sorry?
Innately feminine.
Yes, innately feminine. Like, for example, do you mean like, can you give me an example?
Kidrun.
Okay. Yes, so we'll put that in the end. So for example, okay, so we have ta marbuta if it ends with alif ya, paired body parts, and words that are already feminine by default, like for example, ummun, or bintun. These don't have ta marbuta, but it's mother or sister, right?
Also nisaun.
Nisaun as well. So this will come in this category, right? Which are real feminine, basically, or baqaratun. Baqaratun well has a ta marbuta, but bintun doesn't have ta marbuta. Ummun doesn't have ta marbuta, but these are real feminines, mother and sister. Okay, so this is one category, ta marbuta, alif and hamza, paired body parts, and the last one, like sister said, qidrun, for example. Qidrun means bowl. Or you have nafs.
Circumstances.
Sorry?
The exceptions.
The exceptions. These we say because in the Arabic language it is feminine, that's why it is feminine. Okay? Nafsun is feminine because the Arabs refer to the soul as feminine, or they refer to Shams, the sun, as feminine. I know in Urdu, Shams, like if you refer to the sun, that's a masculine in Urdu, but in Arabic it's feminine. Okay, so these are words that are exceptions. You just have to know them. So any word which is not a feminine based on any of these, then it will be masculine. Okay, so then we're done with gender, and then we have number. So for number, we have singular, dual, and plural. In English, we only have singular and plural, but in Arabic, there's also dual. Okay, so I'm trying to think how much we've covered. So for plurals, masculine plurals, let me just change the color. Masculine plurals in Rafa will end with waw noon. Okay. Oh yes, I remember now. Plurals, first thing we have to talk about is the two types of plurals, right? Does anyone remember what the two types of plurals are?
Sound
Sound, plural, and broken plural.
Sound and broken, correct. So sound is salim, jama salim, and broken is jama maksura. Okay, I can't write that right now. Just write broken here. Broken. So we have the plurals, two types, sound and broken plurals. Okay, so sound plurals in Arabic, if it is masculine and sound, it will end with waw noon. Okay, so you have the singular, whatever the singular is, at the end you add the waw noon. Okay, so for example, if it's Muslim, Muslimun is the singular. At the for plural, you will write Muslimuna. Okay, for feminine, it will be atin, like this. Atin, so Muslimatin. So these are sound plurals. Broken plurals we covered in detail in book 2. We won't go into detail right now, but basically the word is broken up. So can anyone give me an example of some broken plurals?
أولاده? No.
Yes, أولادو is a broken plural. What is the singular? Tell me the singular and the broken plural so we can
ولد
compare
is
it.
it ولد?
Waladun
And,
becomes أولادun, that's broken. Yes.
Tabibun atibau.
Yes, that's correct. Tabibun becomes أطباء.
Ganiyun agniyau.
غني أغنياء, correct. All right. So these are all broken plurals, okay? We covered this in detail in book 2. Duals we haven't come to yet, but inshallah we will later on. So far we've done status, gender, and number. The last one for nouns is wasat, which means the type. Is it ma'rifa or nakira? So you can either call it proper nouns, common nouns, or the more correct terminology will be definite. Ma'rifa are definite, and nakira is indefinite. Okay, so definite and indefinite nouns. So let's look. So does anyone remember how can we tell if a noun is ma'rifa? What does it have usually?
Alif lam at the beginning.
That's correct, alif lam. And what about for nakira?
Tanween.
Tanween.
Tanween. Yes, that's
Dammatain.
correct. Dhammatain, yes, or even the other ones. If it's nasab, then it will have fathatain. If it's jar, then it
Okay.
will have kasratain. But in the normal state, yes, dhammatain. So that's nakira. So let's take a closer look at ma'rifa. Okay, what words can be ma'rifa? Just ignore the rest of the part for now. We're looking right here. Okay. So yes. So ma'rifa, the first way to know if it is a ma'rifa is alif lam. Okay, it will have alif lam. Then names, like proper names, Hamidun or Hind, the country, or Pakistan, all of these, sorry?
Proper nouns.
Proper nouns, basically, yes, proper nouns are all ma'rifa, okay? And then we have pronouns. Pronouns, he, she, they, in Arabic, huwa, hiya, hum, antum, anta, all of these that we covered. We covered all of these in detail. Here, I have a chart. So these are our singular pronouns, and dual and plural. So right now, I want all of you to at least know your singular and the plural. Okay, make sure to write them down in your book. Singular and this one as well, nahnu, and the plural pronouns. Okay, so these are all ma'rifa. These are all definite. Why? Because they are referring to someone, right? When do you usually use a pronoun in a sentence? You use it after you've already mentioned who it is. So for example, you would say, Hamid is a student. He is tall. So when you say he again, when you say huwa tawilun, you are referring to Hamid, which is specific already. So that's why pronouns are ma'rifa. Okay. Then number 4, what else is ma'rifa? Ism Ishaarah are ma'rifa. So do you remember what Ism Ishaarah are?
هذا ذلك تلك هذه تلك.
Yes, correct. So we divide Ism Ishaarah into 2, into near and far. Okay, so Qareeb, Ism Ishaarah Qareeb, and Ism Ishaarah Ba'id. I think I have it over here. So here you can see these are our Qareeb. Hada is this for masculine. Hadihi, this, feminine. When something is close to you, you refer to it as this, okay? And when it's plural, you use ha'ulai. Ha'ulai is used for both masculine and feminine. So these are our Ism Ishaarah Qareeb. And then we have our Ism Ishaarah Ba'id. So dhalika, that for masculine, tilka, that feminine, and ulaika, those, used for both masculine and feminine. Okay, so these are our Ism Ishaarah, and all of these are ma'rifa. They are definite. Because again, when you are pointing to something, it is something specific that you're pointing to. So it will be definite. And then we have Ism Mawsool. We covered this in book number 1. Alladhi for masculine, which alladhi means the one which or which, right? You're talking about something specific. So alladhi is for masculine singular, allati is feminine singular, and alladhina is for plural. Okay. And then we have dual as well, but we're not covering that right now. So these are our Ism Mawsool. They are also Ma'rifa. The last one, which is also Ma'rifa, is that if the mudaf ilay, okay, if the mudaf ilay is Ma'rifa, then the mudaf will also be Ma'rifa. Okay, so let me explain that. Kitabu Hamidin. This is a Murakkab Idafi, right? Which means the book of Hamid. Hamid's book. It has a sense of belonging. So here Kitabu is the mudaf and Hamidin is the mudaf ilay. So because Hamidin is a name, it's a proper name, this is Ma'rifa. Because this is Ma'rifa, then the mudaf also becomes Ma'rifa, right? Hamid's book, it is a specific book. It's not just any book, okay? So then these are the 6 things that are Ma'rifa. So I hope you wrote them down. Does anyone have any questions so far? All right, then we continue on to what else we have learned. So we've learned about Jumlas and Murakkab. Okay, there are 2 things. We have Jumlas, which are complete sentences, and we have Murakkabs. Murakkabs are incomplete sentences or phrases. They don't make sense by themselves, Murakkabs. So first, let's look at Jumla. A Jumla, and these are a Jumla Ismiya. Okay, we're looking at Jumla Ismiya right now, which means they are nominal sentences. These are sentences that begin with a noun. Okay. The other type is Jumla Fi'liya, which means a verbal sentences. They begin with a verb. So we haven't covered verbs yet. So we're looking at Jumla Ismiya, nominal sentences. Okay. So here's our example. Hada baytun. Anyone know what this means?
This is a
This is a house.
This is a house. Yes, this is a house. Hada baytun. Okay. So the first word here that we have is called a mubtada. Mubtada means to begin. Ibtida. It's from the word ibtida, which means beginning. So the first word in our sentence is called the mubtada. Okay. The rule for mubtada is that it always has to be ma'rifa. How do we know that this is ma'rifa? Can anyone tell me why is this ma'rifa? It doesn't have alif lam.
Because you're pointing at the object.
Yeah, because it's an Ism Ishaarah, right? We said Ism Ishaarah is always ma'rifa, right? Does that make sense for everyone? Anyone have any questions? Okay, so hada is ma'rifa because it is an Ism Ishaarah. Baytun is nakira. Why is it nakira?
Because of
Oh,
tanween.
tanween.
Because of the tanween. That's correct. So the khabar is the news, literally the news about it, about your ma'rifa, about your mubtada, will always be nakira. It will always have tanween. Okay. Hada baytun. So when we translate it in English, the translation will be this is a house. Okay. So we say this is, there's a word that's added here. This is a house. Okay. This is a house. Now, if you look at this one here, underneath, hadal baytu. What's the difference? What's the difference between the first one and the second one? Can anyone tell me?
The second one is
This is
not
the house.
complete.
Alif lam.
This is the
Yes.
house.
The house. It's not
Yes.
complete.
That's the
this-
definitive. That means particularly one house.
Correct. So this is now, hada is already ma'rifa. Now the khabar is, the al-baytu is also ma'rifa. Okay. So is this a jumla? Can anyone tell me, is this still a jumla?
No.
No.
The khabar
what
is
is it?
missing.
Yeah, there's no khabar, correct.
Murakkab.
It is a murakkab, that's correct. Okay, murakkab. Why? It is incomplete. Because when we translate it, the translation will be hada means this and al-baytu, house, this house. So the is missing, right? There's no is to make it a sentence. Hada al-baytu, this house. You need a khabar about it. You can say hada al-baytu jamilun, right? You add a khabar. The khabar needs to be nakira. So you will say jamilun with dammatain. Hada al-baytu jamilun. Now this will be a complete sentence. This together will, hada becomes the mubtada and jamilun becomes your khabar. Okay. So hada al-baytu, or you can also say hada al-baytu, all of this is your mubtada and this jamilun is your khabar. Okay. So just keep in mind that always the mubtada has to be ma'rifah. Okay, which means one of these six things. One of these six things, if it has that, then it is a mubtada. Okay. So jumla has to have a mubtada and a khabar. If it does not have that, a jumla ismiya does not have mubtada and a khabar, then it's a murakkab. Okay, it's an incomplete. So let's look at another example now. We have here al-baytu jamilun. Okay, what does this mean? Samiha, can you tell me what this means? Can anyone tell me what this means? Al-baytu jamilun.
The house is
the house is
beautiful.
beautiful. No.
The house is beautiful.
The beautiful house or the house is beautiful.
Yes. What is it? Choose one.
Well, it
Al-baytu
looks
jamilun.
like,
The first part here. Al-baytu jamilun.
oh, Al-Bayt Jamil is the beautiful house.
No, it means the house is beautiful.
It's
Why? Because here,
beautiful.
this is our ma'rifah.
Oh, yeah.
Our
The,
mubtada is ma'rifah. And we have the second word, which is khabar, is nakira. So this is a full sentence. So we will have is. It will be a complete sentence. The house is beautiful, right? This is a complete sentence. But now if we look at this here, al-baytul jamilu. What's the difference here? What's the difference between the
the second
beautiful
is
house.
incomplete. The beautiful house is the
The
second
beautiful
one.
house and something else has to come.
Yes, that's correct.
Possessive.
Because see, this here is not nakira, right? Since this is not nakira, it is not the khabar. So what is the meaning of al-baytul jamilu? The beautiful house. Now you need to say something else. You can say al-baytul jamilu qaribun min al-masjidi. That will be your khabar. The beautiful house is close to the masjid. That's a complete sentence. Just al-baytul jamilu is not complete because the beautiful house. What about it, right? You need more information. So what is this then? Al-baytul jamilu, what is it? If it's not a jumla, what is it?
It's murakkab.
It is a murakkab. It's an incomplete. Yes.
Yeah, it's a murakkab incomplete sentence.
It is a murakkab, which is an incomplete sentence. What kind of murakkab is it? It is
Tawsifi.
murakkab tawsifi. Why? Because we have the noun and its adjective, right? This was murakkab ishari. Murakkab ishari, because we have the noun and the word pointing to the noun. Hadha al-baytu, this house. This one here is murakkab tawsifi, which means the noun and its adjective, the naat and the man'ut, or sifa and mawsoof, right? The main rule for for murakkab tawsifi, the main rule for murakkab tawsifi is that the noun and the adjective need to be similar in 4 categories. What are those 4 categories? These 4.
Definite, gender, number.
All these 4
What's Arab? What's type?
type
thought
is
it's
either
Arab.
ma'rifah or nakira. Wasat.
No, Arab. It was Arab, not type.
I'rab is a rafa, nasab and jar. Yeah, which we call status. What is the status of the noun? Is it rafa? Is it nasab or jar? Okay.
Okay.
Was that your question or not?
Well, I was looking for, because I have a mnemonic in my head, and I was
Okay.
looking for I, which I couldn't see there.
I for, what is it? I for I'rab.
So I've got a mnemonic DING, D-I-N-G, definiteness,
Okay.
Arab, number, and gender. So I
Yeah,
was looking
that's
for
correct.
Arab.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Okay. Yeah, so we have I'rab, jins, adad, and wasat in Arabic. So in all 4 of these, the here we go. For a murakkab tawsifi, the noun and the adjective need to be similar in all 4. So let's check. Is this similar? Number 1, our first was I'rab. Is it similar in the I'rab, the status?
Yes. Both marfu.
both are marfu, right? Both have dhamma. Here is the dhamma and here is the dhamma. So that's correct. Number one, okay, status, both are same. The second one was gender. So are they same in gender?
Both مذكر, yeah.
Both are muzakkar. How do we know it's muzakkar? Because it doesn't look like it's muannas. As long as a noun is not feminine, then it's masculine. Okay, because we have the pointers for feminine. If it's one of these categories, then it will be feminine. If it's none of this, then it is masculine. So this is masculine, this is masculine. That's correct. The third one was number, right? Are these both similar in number?
Yeah, both are mufrad.
Both are mufrad. Yes, mufrad, which means singular. Okay,
Singular.
both of them are singular. So that's fine as well. And the last one was wusat, right? Are they both ma'rifa or are they both nakira?
معرفة.
So we have that, yes. Both are ma'rifa. Both of them have alif lam. So al-baytul jamil. This is a murakkab tawsifi. Okay. So does anyone have any questions so far? Was that understandable?
Yeah, with murakkab tawsifi, can you have another word in between to separate the two words and it's still a murakkab tawsifi, or do the two words have to follow one another?
Usually it will be beside each other. Of course, there are exceptions, which we will cover later. I think in book number 3, there are a few murakkab tawsifi that have something in the middle separating them, but they are still murakkab tawsifi. So for now, I'll just say yes, and we'll look at it in more detail later on, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay. For now, in our book, they will be beside each other usually, or close to each other at least.
Okay.
Can you please repeat it once again? What are the 4 things that we are checking for? First thing is we are looking for.
Yes. These are the 4 things that we are looking for. Here we have status, gender, number, and type. Okay. I'll just mute the others because I can't hear you very well. Okay. Could you please repeat your question again, Sister Izwana?
Yeah, I was asking, what are the 4 things that are we looking for? Status, gender,
number, which means is it singular, is it dual or plural? And last one is wusat. Is it ma'rifa or nakira? Is it definite with alif lam or is it indefinite with tanween?
Okay. And as you said, the second one is murakkab tawfiqi. That means when the sentence is incomplete, we need something else to complete it. That is called murakkab tawfiqi.
No, just a murakkab.
What is it called?
So when it is a complete sentence, it's called a jumla. Okay. There are 2 types of jumla. We have jumla ismiya, which is nominal sentence, what we are looking at right now, and jumla fi'aliya. Okay, verbal sentences. We haven't gotten to this yet. Fi'aliya. Jumla ismiya, it will have mubtada and khabar. This is what a jumla ismiya has. Mubtada and khabar. Okay.
Okay.
If it's not a jumla, then it's a murakkab. Murakkab means a phrase or an incomplete sentence. Now there are we have a few types of murakkabs. One is this one here, murakkab ishari, right? With the Ism Ishaarah is murakkab ishari. Then we have here murakkab tawsifi, the noun and the adjective. The other one is this one, murakkab idafi here. Kitabu Hamidin, Hamid's book. Hamid's book, right? The one with possession. This is murakkab idafi.
Okay. And this haza al-baytu, this will be?
Hadha al-baytu, this one will be a jumla. Sorry, this one is, sorry, no. This one here, hadha al-baytu is a murakkab ishari. Ishari with the Ism Ishaarah. Ism Ishaarah, this is murakkab ishari. This here, hadha baytun, is a jumla.
Jumla, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Anyone have any questions? So, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so jar and majroor will also be murakkab, right?
Yes, yes, that's correct.
So
jar and majroor. For example, we have
كتاب
fi,
القامدين or no في بيتي
fi bayti, right? Or fil bayti, sorry.
في البيت.
Yeah, fil bayti or ala al maktabi, right? The main thing for jar majroor you have to know is that the last letter here will always be
كسرة
kasra,
مجرور.
kasra or kasratain, majroor. It will be majroor fil bayti or ala al maktabi. So I don't remember if we covered all of the harf of jar. I don't think we have, but some of them ila, ala, fi, these are harf of jar. Okay.
So what do you say? Do you say murakkab jari or murakkab jarun? Is it jari?
I think it is jari. I will double check about that. Inshallah. I've always called it jar majroor, but yes, it is a murakkab jari, I'm pretty sure. So this is also a type of murakkab. So we have murakkab, here we have murakkab ishari, murakkab tawsifi, murakkab idafi, murakkab jari. Okay. Any other questions? So I just want to mention again for murakkab idafi, for example, if we say, let's take a different example. We say sayyaratul mudiri, for example. So what is the first word called here? This is the first word in our murakkab idafi. What is it called?
مضاف.
مضاف.
That's correct. This is the mudaf, and the second word is
مضاف إليه.
mudaf ilayh. So what should the i'rab be of the second word of the mudaf ilayh?
مجرور.
مجرور.
Majroor or jar, which means we'll have it kasra. Al-mudiri. What about sayyaratu? Here you can see sayyaratu will be rafa,
مرفوع.
marfu, okay? And it will have a single dhamma. This is very important. Even though it does not have alif lam, it's not a sayyaratu. It is just sayyaratu. It will not be sayyaratun, okay? It will have neither alif lam nor any tanween. So this is an important point to write down for the mudaf. The mudaf will not have alif lam or tanween. It will be just a single dhamma. It will always be rafa and it will be single dhamma. Sayyaratul mudiri, the principal's car, or the car of the principal. Okay, so that we have the belonging here. I'm just checking if we have anything else that we need to cover. Okay, so for example, if we have just my color here, if I say ذلك waladun. So Sister Siti, could you please analyze this for me? Like tell me what do you know everything about this here? What is it? Is it a jumla? Is it a murakkab? What kind of murakkab?
ذلك is جملة. No, yes, it's a jumla. It's Ism Ishaarah, which is mubtada, the first one. Waladun is the khabar, it has tanween. So that is a child, that's a boy.
That is
Or
a boy.
child. That is
Yes,
a boy.
that's correct.
So it's
ذلك. What is ذلك?